Hey everyone, my name is Olga and I'm happy to see you here in this new video. And today we're gonna try a new beautiful palette from Beauty Bay, which is called Mini Charms and which costs only 12 euro. We have 9 toppers here and we are gonna do 4 makeup looks. You're gonna see wear test, you're gonna see swatches, and of course we're gonna discuss everything. But before we start, please don't forget to put a thumbs up and of course consider subscribing if you are not subscribed yet. And after watching this video, please leave a comment, at least one, and it would help the channel to grow. If you don't know what to write, just simply leave several emojis. Thank you in advance, and let's go! Time for the first look, and today we are gonna try these two shades, and of course I'm gonna combine them, and we are gonna use the darker shade closer to the outer corner and this beautiful blue shade on top in the center. And actually we have 9 shades here, and I'm not sure whether I'm gonna do 3 makeup looks or 4 because I want to try all shimmers, and I hope everything is gonna be fine. As we are gonna have kind of dark blue shade closer to outer corner, I have to use something dark closer to outer corner. I'm gonna do following. I'm gonna use brown plus black story. I'm gonna start from brown story and I'm gonna add a little bit more definition using black shade. So let's start. As usual, on this side I'm gonna use an eyeshadow primer, on this side I'm not gonna use anything. And we are gonna start from the darkest shade. Not really the darkest, but still. We're gonna start from this particular shade and I'm gonna apply it closer in the outer corner. And let's see. Blending the shade slightly out till the crease. Now I'm gonna change a brush and I wanna mix these two shades, and we are gonna have a crease shade. Starting from the darkest part and starting to blend the edge. Time for a big fluffy brush, and I'm gonna mix these two shades and gonna blend everything into skin. Now we are gonna add a bit of shimmers. I'm gonna start from the darkest shade, grabbing on a flat brush, and we are gonna add the shade closer to the outer corner. By the way, this particular shade may stain a bit, and it's slightly green, blue, and a bit of pink. Plan a little bit more above the crease, but be careful with it because it has visible base and it is green. Changing the side. No, I'm gonna use another brush and grabbing this beautiful blue shade and gonna apply it. At least it's doable. If no, yep. Oh, looks beautiful. What's left on my brush, applying a little bit above the crease. And it shifts slightly, not really slightly. I'm not quite sure what's going on camera, but in real life it appears more purple with a bit of pink. I can't see blue on eyelid. Maybe on camera it's visible, but in real life it's not visible at all. Now I want to do a trick and want to apply a bit of black shade in the outer corner. But please be careful. So I want to add a little bit more definition here. And of course, I'm blending the shade into the brown one. And applying slightly above shimmers right here carefully. And of course, don't forget to blend everything together. It looks lovely. Moving to the lower lid, and I'm gonna start from the darkest brown shade. And from the outer corner right here. In the inner corner, let's try to add this beautiful shade. It shifts slightly from white to pink. And I hope it would work nicely here. Yes, it does. And by the way, it would work nicely on the eyelid itself. And let's add a little bit of pink as well. Let's try to add this shade. And adding it right here. Too much shimmer, but anyway, we are testing, so that's okay. Gonna use a mix of these two shades for blending everything into skin. So adding a little bit right here. Near lash line, I'm gonna add black eyeliner. And of course, I'm gonna blend the edge right here. And in the waterline, I wanna add blue eyeliner. And don't forget to blend the edge, and don't forget to add this eyeliner into lash line. We are done with the first look, and I'm more or less happy with it, but I think that I've used a little bit too much shimmers. But anyway, we have to try all of them. And on lips, I have today a lip liner from Essence, shade 14, and lipstick from Kiko Milano, shade 1, Magnetic Night. Impression. First impression. Look beautiful. I like this color story. We have different shades here, and you can combine some shimmers. But unfortunately, it's not that easy to apply them with a brush, because it's not easy to take some products on a brush, and it's not that good, but okay, anyway, it may work. And anyway, they may work with some brushes. Bear in mind that there are some shimmers which actually have visible base. For instance, this beautiful shade, and it may stain a little bit, and that's why try to test all the shades before applying them. For instance, these two shades, these three shades, they don't really have a visible base, but this guy has it. So you have to be careful and just simply take it into account. Okay, now I'm gonna show you makeup look closely, and we are gonna see each other in the evening. I have my makeup on around 13 hours, and now we're gonna check everything out. On this side, I've used an eyeshadow primer, and actually everything looks more than just fine. And these sparkles, they didn't fall off. Looks wonderful. On this side, I haven't used any eyeshadow primers, and still everything looks quite nicely. Yes, it seems like eyeshadows creased a little bit right here, but not that bad. And they didn't fall off. Today we are gonna do smoky eyes, so we can't live without classic, and we are gonna try these probably two beautiful shades. This shade is slightly purple, and maybe I will use it on the lower lid, and as well maybe I will combine this beautiful shade with this one, because it has a little bit of green and a bit of golden, and this shade has golden and pink. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I think that we are gonna have 4 makeup looks, because I wouldn't do my best for trying all shades. And we are gonna start from this palette and from some darker shades. I'm gonna use probably today as a darker shade this one, and as a transition shade we're gonna use this one, and for blending everything into skin, this guy. And on the lower lid we are gonna apply beautiful shimmers. So let's start. And of course I'm gonna start from the darkest shade. Just in case if you don't know anything about this palette, it's Gender X Beauty limited edition, beautiful palette. You still can find it somewhere. I think it's available online at DM, I think so. Okay, let's start. On this side I'm not gonna have any eyeshadow bases, of course. And just look at this pigment. Beautiful palette. Applying till the crease and a little bit higher. Changing the brush, grabbing the one which is quite small, and gonna apply it to the outer corner and of course on lower lid. Changing the brush and changing shade. So grabbing a transition shade and we are gonna apply it right here in the crease, blending everything together. Now I need big fluffy brush and the lightest shade, and we are gonna blend everything into skin. Carefully blending edges. Time for toppers, and I'm gonna use this beautiful shade on the eyelid, grabbing a little bit and starting from the center. I've seen somewhere familiar shade, so it's not something new, of course, but still a beautiful, beautiful shade. And let's apply a little bit of this beauty closer to the inner corner. So grabbing a little bit, and let's see. Oh yeah, beautiful shade. A bit of pink, a bit of yellow. We definitely could live without this shade today, but anyway, back to the darker shade and applying it fully on the lower lid and slightly blending. And I want to apply this lovely dark shade on the lower lid right here. Yeah, it's quite dark and a little bit, it's like a mix of purple and brown. Near the lash line, I'm gonna apply an eyeliner from La Vera in brown shade. And of course, I'm gonna use this same shade in the waterline. And of course, don't forget to blend edges. And closer to the inner corner, I wanna add this beautiful, slightly lilac shade from Catrice. Gonna add it right here. And wanna blend it slightly. We are done for today, and this time we have something simple but wearable. And let me tell you what I've used today on lips. A lip liner from NYX, shade Gold Crusher, lipstick from Eveline, shade 4, and I've applied a little bit over a product from Nature Republic, Honey Melting Lip in shade Lychee. If you want to try this product, it is a nice one, but bear in mind that it's slightly sticky if you apply a lot. So just simply apply a little bit. They do have quite nice shades. And my impression, today we have tried several new shades, and it seems to me that this particular shade is slightly drier than the others. At least it seems to me, but it's easy to apply it with a brush. And as well, we've tried slightly this beautiful shade. It doesn't have visible base. This shade doesn't have visible base as well. Well, here a little bit, just a little bit, but visible. Here, no base. And as well, this beautiful shade. Also, it has slightly visible base, but it might be applied without any. But for this, you have to use a little bit less. And I haven't tried two shades. Oh, interesting. Anyway, I think I like this makeup look. Looks nicely, and yeah, as I've already told you, quite wearable. So I'm gonna show you eye makeup look closely, and we are gonna see each other in the evening. I have my makeup on almost 13 hours, and now we're gonna check everything out. We're gonna start from this side where I've used an eyeshadow primer. Everything looks perfectly well, yeah. Some pieces may fall off time to time. Here I haven't used anything and still looks quite nicely. Great. Today we are gonna have an extremely simple look. We are gonna draw a wing, and I'm gonna add these two lovely shades on the eyelid, and actually more or less that's it. We are gonna start from a crease shade, and I wanna mix these two shades from Huda Beauty. Let's go. Mixing two shades and starting from the crease. Blending the shade into skin. Maybe not this one. Maybe I'm gonna use peach shade for doing this. But this guy is gonna be a crease shade. And as well, I'm gonna add the shade to the outer corner and on the lower lid as well. On a big fluffy brush, I'm gonna add a mix of these two shades and gonna blend the edge. Switching to the toppers, and I'm gonna start from the pink shade. I'm gonna add it closer to the outer corner and in the center. Switching the side, and now I'm gonna add this lovely shade closer to the inner corner, and it appears a bit more pink as the previous one. To the inner corner, I will probably add this beautiful shade. Black eyeliner, I'm gonna add near the lash line and in the lash line. White eyeliner, I'm gonna add in the waterline. Time to draw a wing, and I'm gonna use a liner from Natasha Denona. We are done with the third look, and actually you need for it around 10-15 minutes depending on what you're gonna do and how many shimmers you're gonna use. Of course you can use only one, and in this case you can save a little bit of your time, and it is a nice option for some daily looks. Impression. I think that these two shades are gorgeous, and if you wanna do something more pinky, try this shade. This guy is more neutral and has a bit more silver shimmers, and both of them are nice, and you can find some familiar shades in more in other palettes, and they may cost more. Here we have 9 shimmers, and this palette costs only 12 euro. So actually I like it. I like the palette and I like shimmers. But by the way, if you want to apply a bit more, it's better to apply with fingers, because it's not that easy to apply shimmers using brushes, as they are way too creamy, and well, and yeah, it doesn't really work the way I wish they worked. So yes, and let me tell you what I've used on lips. As a lip liner, Maybelline in shade Dusty Rose, mousse lipstick, liquid lipstick from Yves Rocher, shade 102, and a bit of this beautiful lip balm from Nature Republic in shade Lychee. So now I'm gonna show you eye makeup look closely, and we're gonna see each other in the evening. I have my makeup on almost 15 hours, actually 14 and a half. And now let's check out what do we have here. I think it looks gorgeous for almost 15 hours. And this side, as a reminder, here I've used an eyeshadow primer. Here I haven't used anything. Yes, They may crease a little bit right here, but it's not that bad. Time for a final look, and today we're gonna have something simple, most likely a kind of a daily looks. And yes, I have a pimple patch right here, and I'm gonna keep it today. So I wanna try these two shades today, and I wanna do something simple. As I've already told you, probably kind of a smudged wing, but a not super long wing. So we are gonna start from a crease shade. We're gonna use a crease shade and two shimmers actually, and probably something in the corner, and that's it more or less. So I'm gonna start from a crease shade, and I wanna use this palette from Huda Beauty, and probably I will use this beautiful shade today. I wanted to try something more warm, but okay. Anyway, starting from the crease, I'm gonna blend this shade in all direction, and as well I wanna edit this shade to the outer corner, same thing I did yesterday as a part of the previous look. Blending everything, and as well I wanna add this shade on the lower lid. Now closer to the outer corner I'm gonna add this shade, and closer to the inner corner this one. So we are gonna start from something darker. By the way, this particular brush works nicely with these shimmers. Okay, starting from the outer corner. Wow, beautiful shade, shifts from golden to pink and looks nicely. Changing a side and grabbing the lightest shade and applying it closer to the inner corner. Oh yeah, they work nicely together. And blending them slightly. And of course, I'm gonna add a bit of product over the crease. In the inner corner, I'm gonna add this shade. Near the lash line, adding black eyeliner. To the waterline, I'm gonna add lightly bronze shade. Now we're gonna draw a small wing. I'm gonna use a wax-based eyeliner, and don't forget that this product is not long-lasting and you have to use some powder over. But this product is gorgeous in case you want to blend something, and in case you want to draw something, and in case you need time. Because with gel-based eyeliners, it doesn't really work that way. I'm gonna start from the outer corner, and no, I'm not gonna have a long and big wing today. I'm gonna do something like this. Gonna add a little bit more. And I think that it's gonna be enough for today. And of course, I'm gonna blend the edge right here slightly. And gonna use some eyeshadows over. I'm gonna use this shade for now and gonna apply it fully over the eyeliner. A little bit, and don't forget to blend edge a little bit. If you want to add a little bit more definition, take a small brush, and actually I'm gonna show it to you, and take a dark shade, any dark shades, and gonna add it a little bit near the lash line right here. And of course, don't forget to return back to the previous shade and blend everything together. We are done with our final look, and I like the result, and I like the shades we've tried today. Just in case, I've used today false lashes from Catrice. They are called Insane Length Lashes, and by the way, they are quite nice, and if you have never tried them, try, because they work perfectly and they are quite cheap actually. And I'm happy that I finally found a brush with which this palette works perfectly. And I think that this palette for €12 is perfect. And by the way, if you don't want to wear false lashes with this look, just simply draw wings slightly smaller. And in this case, you can use any mascaras and everything is going to be fine. Let me tell you what I've used today on lips. As a lip liner, Luxe Visage shade 66 and a lipstick from KVD Beauty in shade Lolita, and it's called Butter Lipstick. Beautiful, I like it. And with this look, it looks great. Okay, now I'm gonna show you eye makeup look closely, and we're gonna see each other in the evening, and we are gonna discuss this palette. I have my makeup on almost 13 hours. Yes, again. And now we're gonna check everything out. So on this side, I've used an eyeshadow primer. Here, I haven't used anything. And I would say that looks fine. Yes, of course, they may slightly fall off, especially while being applied. And yes, they may slightly crease, but it's not that bad. And finally, it's time to discuss everything. We are gonna start from some basic information. This palette costs 12 euro, as I've already told you. We have 9 grams here. Each single eyeshadow weighs 1 gram, and actually it's okay. This palette is made in China, as usual. All palettes from Beauty Bay are made in China, and actually it's not that matter in this particular case because quality in most of the cases gorgeous. And I have quite many palettes from Beauty Bay and I know what I'm talking about. And in most of the cases, their matte eyeshadows are pigmented, but yeah, there are some problems with blending because it's pure pigment, so you have to be careful. But still, their palettes are gorgeous. And actually, we are gonna do some swatches today. I've prepared a couple of palettes and we are gonna compare several shades. I'm quite happy with the quality and I'm surprised. And actually, I do like palettes from Beauty Bay, and just in case, big palette is also available, but this time I decided to skip it because I thought that this small palette looks a little bit more interesting. And if you have quite many matte eyeshadows or quite many palettes, it's nice to have one single palette which contains only shimmers and which has only toppers, and I think it is a good choice. Spoiler. Okay, moving on. Here we have 9 shades. Formula is exactly the same, but at the same time, not exactly the same. We have, I would say, two shades which have base, and they are these ones. So you have to be careful. Others, they don't really have visible base, especially these 4 shades. It's more like they are more like toppers, and you can use them as toppers. This guy actually as well might be used as topper. This one, if you apply a little bit more, you may probably see a bit of base, but it's not gonna be super visible as here. Warning, this shade may stain a bit, so be careful with it. With others, everything is more than just okay. These shimmers, they don't really fall off while wearing. They may a little bit, and especially they may fall off while being applied. So you have to be careful while applying these shimmers, these toppers. You can apply them with fingers or with a brush. It's possible to apply them with a brush, but everything would depend on a particular brush. If you want to have a slightly brighter effect, you have to use your fingers for applying these shimmers. I'm impressed, I'm in love, I like this palette, and I think that for 12 euro it's gorgeous. Yes, of course, the packaging is not the best one. It's made of paper, of carton, but still for 12 euro it's okay. Now we're going to discuss all shades, and I'm going to start from the lightest. It is a mix of yellow and pink. Doesn't have visible base and actually looks beautiful, and I think that it is a beautiful shade for some daily looks. It reminds me slightly Natasha Denona pastel palette shade Illusion, but it's not exactly the same. Illusion is more metallic, and the product from Beauty Bay is more, I would say, a topper. But they look quite familiar, while textures are different. And actually, I would prefer the product from Beauty Bay. Just in case, I'm not gonna swatch any single eyeshadows, because actually, if we talk about single eyeshadows, it's possible to find some familiar shades. And for instance, you can check out Glam Shop or Bernovich, but each single eyeshadow would cost you from these brands around 10 euro, from 5 to 10 euro. Here we have already 9 shades for 10 euro. 12. So I think it's not that really fair to compare them, and I'm not quite sure whether I have an exact matches. Not that sure about it. So that's why I'm gonna compare only with eyeshadow palettes. But if you're interested in a particular shade, check out Glam Shop or Bernovich. They should have something more or less familiar. Moving on, the next shade is gonna be this one, and it is a nice shade again for some daily looks. It shifts slightly from pink to green, and by the way, I've tried something familiar today. Moment. I've tried today this palette from Rain, and we have a beautiful topper here, and let's compare. And actually, I have this topper on my eyelid today. You know what? They look quite familiar, but here Beauty Bay has a little bit more pink, while product from Ren has a bit more golden. But I think that textures are quite familiar actually. But I would prefer Beauty Bay, sorry, but that's life. And they both shift from golden to pink. But yes, product from Beauty Bay is slightly more pinkish. The next shade is gonna be again a nice choice for some daily looks. And again, it shifts from golden to pink. While here we have a little bit of green, here we have less green and more, I would say, more golden. And I think that I have several familiar shades. For instance, as an option, shade Sun, Anastasia Beverly Hills, Cosmos Palette. Texture is not the same. Anastasia more on metallic side, while Beauty Bay or more on topper side, but they do look quite familiar. Don't you think so? So, if you like this shade from Anastasia, you can probably try this shade from Beauty Bay. And yeah, here we are gonna have a topper, as I already told you. Now I have to take them off and we are gonna continue. Cold pink shade. Looks beautiful, and I think it is a good choice for some daily looks or even for some events. Looks beautiful, works nicely, doesn't have a visible base. And yes, I have some familiar shades to show. This beautiful shade from Huda Beauty reminds me slightly this shade, but same thing. Here we have a topper, here we have more a metallic shade, but they are not exactly the same actually. This guy is more on silver side and slightly more cold and has less pink than this shade. And as well, maybe slightly Anastasia Beverly Hills Spice Palette, but here we have a little bit more something warm, I would say. But as an option, why not? Here we have a bit of something peach, I would say. Here we don't have anything like this. And I think that these two shades are quite familiar even from texture point of view. But if you prefer applying eyeshadows using a brush, Anastasia would work definitely far better, because this shade is better to apply it using fingers. Beautiful, beautiful. Ah, blue plus purple with a bit of purple. It's not that super visible, but I think that everyone, well, almost everyone would think about Sugar Palette from Anastasia and this beautiful shade. They are not the same, guys. They are not the same. Anastasia has more purple and Anastasia has more pigment. This guy appears more slightly green, I would say, on eyelid, while this shade from Anastasia appears more blue. And now you know. Next shade. I don't have any familiar actually shades to show to you, but I want to do additional swatch and want to discuss the shade with you. I'm not that impressed by this shade. It doesn't look that interesting. It's more, it has a visible base and it's slightly gray. Shimmers here, we have purple and a bit of golden shimmers. But this shade, okay, we can have it, we can keep it, but it's not gonna be used that often. You can use it as a transition shade, and it's not, and it doesn't look as a topper actually. While other shades I've already shown you appear more toppers. Here, this guy is more on metallic side, so it's okay, but it's not gonna be used that often. This shade shifts slightly from pink to green, and it's again, and it's more metallic, has visible base as I already told you, and it's slightly green. And be aware that this particular shade stains, so be careful with it and apply it over something. And only two shades are left. We're gonna start from something classy, I would say. It is a mix of brown with a bit of green. I think that this shade is quite common, and I'm gonna show you several options. If you live in Germany, Gender Beauty Daydreams, we have a lovely shade which is called The One. It's not exactly the same, and personally I do prefer this shade from Gender Beauty because it's more a topper, and this guy is more on metallic side, but they both shift from brown to green. But I would say that here we have a little bit of something gray. And as well as an option, if I'm not mistaken, this palette. Yes, palette from Beauty Bay, which is called Age of Opulence. And here we have shade Vintage. It's not exactly the same. Here we have a bit more, it's slightly more goldish and has less, no, it's not exactly the same, and it's way too dark if we compare it with these two. But I think that this shade is quite common, and I think that almost everyone has it. And our last shade for today, slightly purple, I would say it's more lilac, and we have almost an exact shade in shade Love Notes from Beauty Bay. Let me show it to you. It has visible base, slightly visible base, but you can actually apply it as a topper as well. Here we have shade Princess, this one. I think it's more or less the same shade. I think so. But let's quickly take a look. Almost. Almost. This shade is slightly more purple. This shade has a little bit more pink. But on the eyelid, they may appear exactly the same. So back to our palette. I would say that these four shades, more on metallic side, it is a mix of metallic plus shimmer plus topper, and these five more on topper side. So they are toppers, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed by this palette, by the quality, because it works nicely. It looks nicely. We have quite nice shades here. Of course, I don't really like these two guys, but okay, for 12 euro, I have also these 5 awesome shades, and I am more than just happy. So if you thought about buying this palette, yes, take it, grab it while it's still available. I think it's gonna be used quite often, and it works nicely, it behaves nicely, and yes, of course, I do like it. I'm not quite sure whether I'm gonna take this palette because it's limited edition again, but we'll see. And if you are interested in Beauty Bay, please let me know down below about it, and I can time to time take some palettes from Beauty Bay. And yes, we are done for today, so let me know down below what do you think about this palette. Are you gonna buy it or no? I hope you enjoyed this video, and I wish you a great day and hope to see you soon in the next one. Bye bye!